Campus FM u d-Dipartiment tal-Politika Pubblika jippreżentaw Agora. Il-programm li matulu niddiskutu temi soċjali u politiċi. Imexxi d-diskussjoni Dr. Mario Thomas Vassallo.
U bis-solita mużika Viva la Vida hemmhekk jiena Mario Thomas Vassallo nilqakom u ntikom merħba l-ewwel ħaġa bonġu issif filgħodu, grazzi tal-li għażiltu mill-ġdid l-istazzjon Campus FM għal programm ieħor ta' diskussjoni soċjopolitika, il-programm Agora. Agora illum se jiddiskuti l-Iżlam. Nafu illi madwar id-dinja għaw madwar 1.9 biljun Musulman madwar id-dinja li bewieħed u ieħor jagħmlu 25% tal-popolazzjoni fid-dinja. Ovvjament dawn huma maqsumin f'diversi fazzjonijiet differenti. Huwa kkalkulat ukoll illi f'Malta hawn madwar 3000 Musulman għalkemm jista' jkun illi fir-realtà n-numru huwa akbar li minnhom 150 huma Maltin, ħafna minnhom ikunu nisa Maltin li żewġu Musulmani. U għalhekk allura l-Iżlam huwa realtà mhux biss reliġjuża, imma huwa wkoll realtà politika u soċjali. U f'dina s-sija u nofs li ġejjin minn issa sal-10 u nofs, għaliex imbagħad mill-10 u nofs sal-11 ikonna s-soltu taħdita wiċċ imwiċċ ma' politiku din id-darba għandi lil Dr. Mallin Farrugia, pero f'din l-ewwel sija u nofs tal-programm fl-istudio għandi 3 rappreżentanti tad-dinja Musulmana. L-ewwel ħaġa bi pjaċir nilqa' lill-Imam Ahmad Atif mill-Ahmadija Musulmana Ġamat f'Malta. Għandi lil Rauf Babar li huwa accountant u attiv ħafna fil-qasam tal-żgħażagħ u wkoll minn ftit tal-xurilu għaw beda jaħdem f'Malta u xekk. Rauf, grazzi li qed hawnhekk, u għandi wkoll lil Zian Albaniz li huwa mit-Turkija, huwa riċerkatur tal-ċibernatika u wkoll ġurnalista freelance. Thank you for being with us this morning. Se nkunu qegħdin niddiskutu diversi suġġetti mal-Iżlam fosthom is-soċjetà, il-politika, l-ekonomija, in-nisa, il-kultura u wkoll l-Iżlam kontra min joħodha. Min huma l-għadu tal-Iżlam? Nibda bik, Imam Atif. L-Iżlam propja xi professa? Nafu li professa twemmin falla wieħed. Imma kif din ir-reliġjon issawwar il-ħajja tal-bniedem għal-qas Musulman?
L-ewwel qed nirringrazzjak għall-istidina tiegħek u dan l-aħħar semmet tal-level darba iltaqajna u sirna ħabib ta' qalb u nirringrazzjak u dan din il-ħabibirija jekk alla jrid se tiżdied fil-futur ukoll. L-Iżlam, kelma l-Iżlam ifisser il-paċi u sottomissjoni għar-rida ta' Allah. Jiġifieri il-bniedem għandu ikkun fil-paċi miegħu innifsu imbagħad jagħti paċi lil ħaddieħor u jxarrad il-messaġġ ta' paċi fis-soċjetà u jemmen fuq Allah u fir-rida u t-talim tiegħu. Jiġifieri Islam bħala l-kelma
hija minn slim.
Hija minn
salama, l-erq tal-kelma.
Ejwa salama, paċi u slim u saħħa sabiex meta il-bniedem għax l-Islam ħafna drabi nismaw ħafna affarijiet kontra l-Islam imma il-kelma hija biżejjed biex jispjega x'inhu l-Islam għalhekk Alla jrid li dak li huwa Musulman il-Addis Profeta Muhammad paċi tkun miegħu qal li l-Musulman veru huwa dak li minn idu u il-sinu kull bniedem ieħor huwa fil-paċi.
Rauf, the Imam is saying that from its very name, Islam is associated with peace, slim, salam. However, the common perspective among many people is that Islam stands for violence, stands for jihad, stands for let's take up to arms to defend ourselves or to attack others. So where is this misconception between peace and violence?
So thank you very much for having me, first of all. I thank you and Imam for having me here. So first of all, I would like to quote a verse from Quran, Surah Nisa, which says, "O you who believe, be upholders of justice, witnesses of Allah, even though it's against your own interest, your own family." So in all fairness, I'll say that there's a good big number of Muslims that do give some grounds to non-Muslims to criticize as well. They do have some really extreme views. We have to agree with that. They do have some opinions that are not in line with the basic human rights that we enjoy in this time and age. But then at the same time, there are some naive, I would say, people who judge Islam, the whole religion, by the actions of some of these criminals.
So you are taking, as if you are implying that the problem is not with religion, but with the political systems within the Islamic State. Is that what you are hinting?
What I would say is that the crime of one person should be his own personal crime, and we should not, nobody from his fraternity should be held accountable for his actions, let alone we criticize the whole religion just because of the actions or views of one group of people. So I think that is how we should take it.
Ziyan, but there is also a different model of religion here, because Islam, unlike Catholics, Islam has its own political and economic credo, parameters, guidelines, which in Catholicism, this is not the case. And therefore, if Islam gives guidelines on politics and economics, therefore there is no separation between religion and civil life. Is that right?
First of all, I am thank you for having us today. Regarding your question, after reading Quran a few times, I think that Islam as a religion doesn't dictate any model specifically, but it suggests some principles in political and in economy. For example, as I said, Islam doesn't dictate any model. It doesn't say that you have to be a socialist society, capitalist society, or liberalist society, but it suggests some economic models for preventing poverty, helping poor people, developing your own society in the sake of all people, not just for some of people. I hope.
So social justice.
Yes.
It professes social justice.
Yes, for sure. And for another example is that some people think that Islam is against democracy, but if we read Quran, we can see that Islam strongly suggests us to consult each other while deciding regarding our society.
But what's the Imam? Ġifiri, intkom għandkom ktib wieħed qaddis, suppost japplika għal kulħadd. Imma x'jiswa li għandek ktib wieħed jekk kulħadd jinterpretah differenti u kulħadd jikwota l-Quran u jaħseb li hu t-tajjeb. x'jiswa? Isek għandek 1000 ktieb mela mhux ktieb wieħed.
Dan il-punt huwa importanti imma kif nafu li jekk nispjegaw it-talim b'mod differenti, opinjoni differenti, imma l-Islam jgħid li l-lan għandu jkun il-ġid tal-poplu, il-ġid tal-umanità u il-ġid għas-soċjetà. Jekk ninterpretaw, nispjegaw it-talim, il-Koran b'dak il-mod, allura opinjoni differenti jew tifsirijiet differenti u ma naħseb ħafna aħjar. Per eżempju, jekk nitkellmu fid-demokrazija, dan huwa il-valur u s-sabiħ tal-demokrazija li kulħadd jispjega u jgħid tiegħu imbagħad fl-aħħar nasru u inkatru il-ġid komuni. Dak huwa l-punt li l-Islam jgħid. Il-Quran huwa ktib wieħed imma il-tifsiriet huma differenti, il-bniedem kulħadd jew ħafna nies huma jaħsbu mod differenti. Imma fl-aħħar mill-aħħar jekk id-dik tifsira hija għal ġid tal-bniedem, allura huwa aċċettabbli. Imma jekk xi ħadd jispjega u jagħti tifsira li mhijiex fil-ġid tal-bniedem, allura ma nistgħux naċċettawh. Dan
Zian, l'Imam has just said that democracy is contemplated in Quran. People choose their leaders. However, reality shows that in many Muslim countries, there is no democracy. There are dictators. So isn't this against the spirit of the Quran?
For sure.
So they are living a lie.
Unfortunately, in the history we are seeing some societies like Soviet Unions, but names are not important. Names are not important when we consider themselves. You can call themselves. You can call yourself a socialist, but
you are not
socialist. It doesn't.
Sometimes you are called a champagne socialist.
Probably yes. Regarding Islamic states, yes, we are seeing name of the Islam in their country names, maybe some symbols in their flags, but when we look at their people, we cannot see Islam, unfortunately. This is not Islam.
Iva, ek per eżempju fil-prinċipju tal-Islam, il-politika Islamika hija tinbena fuq il-punt li għandek taqdi lil ħaddieħor u mhux biex tinqeda, għandek tkun fil-naħa biex tisservi lil ħaddieħor u mhux biex tistenna li ħaddieħor jistennik. Għalhekk il-Addis Profeta Muhammad paċi tkun miegħu qal biċ-ċar li Sayyidul Qawmi ħademhom, jiġifieri il-mexxejja tal-poplu huma dawk li isservu u jaqdu lil poplu.
Imma jekk tara ħafna pajjiżi Rauf, you work among young people, and young people have all over the world, not just in the Muslim world, they show distrust, they have lack of trust in politicians. So where do and they were the ones who, for example, the young people, they were the ones who first triggered the Arab Spring in North Africa. Abu Aziz in Tunisia, the vegetable hawker there. So what is there a changing perspective of how Muslim young people see their politicians, their Muslim politicians?
I think it's our youth responsibility to educate others about how things are. Like just a few weeks ago, I was having this discussion at my workplace, with some of my friends, and they did not really know what Allahu Akbar means. So they were under some impression. So I had to kind of discuss and tell them that Allahu Akbar, it doesn't mean something really aggressive, or it doesn't promote violence or something. So it's I think it's all about how you discuss things. Like for me, Allahu Akbar is something, it's like it makes me feel down to earth, humble. I don't say, I am not great. Allah is the great. So I think in young people, they have a good chance that they can communicate and they can speak their minds out with love and respect.
Imma, aħna naraw fuq il-television. Per eżempju l-Palestina, jew il-Yemen, jew pajjiżi oħrajn. Jisparaw bomba, u għat li qed jisparawa, whilst they are firing the bomb, they will praise the Lord Allahu l-Akbar. Għadhi mhux kontradizzjoni kbira.
Iva, dan huwa kontra it-talim Iżlamiku 100%. Għaliex? Għax Allahu Akbar ifisser li Allah huwa il-kbir. Aħna il-poplu, aħna bnedmin umli. Ma nistawx insiru bħalu. Huwa laqwa.
Pero li tispara bomba f'ġieħu.
Hija għalhekk din hija lidja żbaljata, in-nies ma jifmux x'inhu Iżlam. Ma il-mexxejja
Ma il-profeta, il-kbir profeta Muhammad, meta miet?
Mit kważi 1400 sena ilu.
Allura f'1400 sena, allura l-Islamiċi għadhom ma femux il-Koran, fallejtu mela.
Il-Għadis profeta Muhammad paċi tkun miegħu qal li iż-żmien tiegħu se jkun laqwa fil-Iżlam imbagħad 3 sekli se jkunu wkoll laqwa. Imbagħad se jiġi 1000 sena li huma dak iż-żmien se jkun il-falliment tal-dinja Iżlamika għax il-Mużulmani se immorru il-bod mit-talim Iżlamiku.
Fil-fatt, Rauf, history books tell us about the golden age of Islam, which spread over 500 years until the 13th century. In fact, Malta gained under this golden age of Islam because the Arabs came here and settled here for almost 360 years. In fact, our language is a direct inheritance of the Arab. So what has been the contribution of Islam in the world of those times? You are an accountant, and it is said that accountancy is a direct result because the Arabs invented the zero, the number 0, which the Romans didn't have. Is that right?
Correct. But
so what has been the contribution in the old times? Because even the Prophet Muhammad spoke about the golden age, but then it seems that after the 12th century, Islam seems like morphed, changed into the Dark Ages, where it still stands today. What is happening?
You're absolutely right. I completely agree with you. So basically, as you mentioned about the golden age of Islam, the source of that golden age of Islam is exactly the teachings of Quran and the hadith of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Quran itself has signified the importance of education by teaching the prayer, "O my Lord, increase me in knowledge." Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has reported to have said, gain knowledge even if you have to travel to as far as China. So, he also commanded that it is obligatory, it is important for every man and woman to acquire knowledge. The truth is that Holy Quran and teachings of Holy Prophet of Islam inspired the works of generations of Muslim intellectuals, philosophers, inventors of Middle Ages. For example, if I can give you some bullet points, maybe, the first ever camera was developed by a Muslim scientist, Ibn Haytham, and his revolutionary work was recognized by UNESCO. In 12th century, Muslim cartographer produced what was regarded as the most extensive and accurate world map for medieval times.
Essentially, the Islam in that age also re-explored the great political thinkers of the ancient world, like Plato, Aristotle.
Correct.
They were reintroduced by the Arabs because they were lost.
Correct.
So what happened since then? Because the Imam said that the great prophet said that there will be dark times.
Exactly.
After. So, are you still in the dark times?
That is the point where I'll kind of disagree, because as Imam rightly mentioned, that the Dark Age was also a part of Prophet Muhammad's prophecy, but then the second part of the prophecy was where Jamaat Ahmadiyya, was Ahmadiyya Muslim community, where they come in. So Prophet Muhammad had already prophesied that, and now I will not really, to be honest, agree that we are still in the Dark Age, because now the mainstream Islam, Ahmadiyya Muslim community, the one who is working on the revival of Islam, we have some because it just started in 1889, and we have some really good educational people, and with the grace of Almighty Allah, the very first Muslim laureate, Nobel laureate, was also an Ahmadi Muslim. So I think now the contribution of Muslims through Jamaat Ahmadiyya
He was Dr. Abdul
is going
Salam.
high.
Dr. Abdul Salam, he was from Pakistan.
Xinu dan il-Nobel Prize winner?
Yes.
Min kien allura wa xi xħadu?
Dr. Abdul Salam.
U fil-lima qasam ħadem?
Bataj.
In which area of specialization?
So he was a physicist, and he won the Nobel Prize for physics in 1979.
Physics.
Yes, exactly.
In the natural science. Zian, your opinion also in this context. Also, today you are working in Malta. How do you feel as a Turkish Muslim working in a Catholic European country?
First of all, I am really appreciating hospitality of Maltese people. I have to say that. I feel very safe in Malta. Actually, when I look at international communities like Malta, I am honestly, frankly, I am seeing that what Islam suggests us, because Islam says us that whoever you are, but live in peace, respect each other, respect each rights, especially your neighbor's right. It is very important in Islam. For example, if your neighbor is sleeping hungry, it is your responsibility. You have to be aware of his or her situation, and you have to help them. I am very happy to have good Maltese neighbors in Malta, as I said, but I have to add one important point. A few years ago, an academic study published regarding economical assessment of countries from perspective of Islam, and in that research, we are seeing that some Western countries are more Islamic than Islamic countries that have Islam in the names of it.
Okay, so for example, Zian, you are from Turkey.
Yep.
Rauf is from Pakistan. Okay, now there are also the Islamists of Albania in Europe. So different, and the Islam of Malaysia. They seem to profess different way of living, and even the way they dress. So there is no uniformity in Islamic religion.
Islam bħala reliġjon jati gwida, jati outer line, outer policy, imma imbagħad jgħid li il-kulturi differenti jażlu dak li huwa l-aħjar għal-jum. Per eżempju, natik inti semmejt il-dress code. L-Islam jgħid li bniedem għandu biex jilbes b'mod diċenti. Imma imbagħad iħalli l-għażla fil-idejn in-nies biex jażlu x'inhu id-diċenti skont il-kultura tagħhom. Per eżempju, jekk imorru l-Arab fil-pajjiżi tal-Arab, huma jilbsu il-ħwejjeġ twal, il-libsa twila. Jekk imorru fil-Pakistan huma jilbsu qamis u ngħidu xalwar. Imma fil-Punent huma jilbsu qamis u qalsit. Allura il-libsa għandha tkun diċenti, dak l-Islam jgħid li m'għandekx tilbes b'mod ħażin jew ma tilbix xi ħaġa żgħira li ma jattix il-ġisem tal-bniedem jew il-dizin tal-libsa jkun mhux xira għall-bniedem li huwa jemmen falla. Allura diċenza hija outer line, hija prinċipju, imma imbagħad il-ħalli l-għażla fin id-dejn il-kulturi u n-nies tal-pajjiżi
Dik li qed tgħid li inti diċenza fiżavi anka lil-bies tan-nisa, aħna l-Ewropej inħarsu lejha b'mod differenti. Fil-fatt, aktar kmieni din il-ġimgħa ħadd intervista qasira l-opinjonista Charles Micallef dwar numru ta' riservi li għandu dwar l-Islam. Ħa nisimgħu x'qalinna u mbagħad nitkellmu u niddiskutuhom hawnhekk fl-istudju. Infakkarkom illi intkom tistgħu tagħmlu kollegament magħna kemm bit-telefon fuq 234-089-28 il-numru tat-telefon tagħna, jew inkella tistgħu tibatulna fuq WhatsApp fuq 773-41037 7734-1037. Nisimgħu lill-opinjonista Charles Micallef.
Grazzi, Charles Micallef, opinjonista illi qiegħed magħna u naf li għandek idejat pjuttost voċiferi fuq ċertu riservi li għandek dwar il-kultura Islamika. Ħanibdew bl-ewwel waħda. Naf li inti titkellem anke fil-pubbliku dwar il-ħalal. Għaliex għandek riservi fuq il-ħalal?
Grazzi Marja l-għonna tal-istedina. Jiena ħanamela ċara minix kontra kulturi differenti jew nista' femmi differenti, imma is-suġġett ħanibqa' il-ħalal jirrikjedi id-drittijiet tal-annimali, krudeltà. Veru aħna magħmulin biex niklu koll-annimali, imma l-annimali għandhom jmutu b'dinjetà mhux maqtulin bil-mod barbariku.
Essenzjalment il-ħalal irrid jitħanxar lon.
Kien ħafna kemm biex dejjem ikollha ċans il-baqra twersaq loġieħ għax jekk jaqtalek il-gerżuma mhux ħajoħroġ is-sound. Imma sakemm tibda taqta' is-sikkina l-volja ma jkunu fast, jieħa twersaq u bad tibda tagħti ħafna b'saqajja u l-ħabel li kollha mirbut tkun ħataqla minn mal-ħaj.
Hemmhekk tara moħħrija fuq l-annimali inti.
Ija, x'għajjina nara li kien hemm ċipku weħel il-ħabs tal-li sabbat kitib. All right? U sewwa għandu jkun weħel xi 3 xhur ħabs. Dan hemm il-proverbju Ingliż jgħidlek when you are in Rome, do as the Romans do. F'pajjiżhom m'hemmx tagħmel, ma Malta għandna l-animal welfare, ċipku weħel il-ħabs, sorry, x-xemx għal kulħadd titla' l-istess.
Tajjeb, issa jirrispondu ukoll mill-panel li għandna fl-istudio dal-għodu. Però hemm ukoll affarijiet oħra li għandek riservi tagħhom, bħal pereżempju trattament tan-nisa fost il-prattikanti iżlamiċi. Allura inti pereżempju kontra l-burka? Jew kontra la ta' taxxar?
Norbota mal-ewwel waħda li qed when you are in Rome, do as the Romans do. L-ewwel net tkun żgħir bħalissa il-ħabba l-imbirka Covid importanti li nieħdu ftit raġġi tax-xemx. Bħalissa x-xemx il-jufi tagħha mhux perikolus. Taħt il-ġilda bir-raġġi tax-xemx inti tibbildi għal vitamin D li hija tajba għall-immunity. Jiġri anke medically li tkun motti minn fuq s'isfel ma tħallix raġġ xemx jaqaf il-ġilda, dak żgur ma naqbilx miegħu. Ovvjament
sakemm ma tkunx f'nofs is-Saħħara għax aħna narawhom dak il-Bedwini jkunu imgeżrin minn fuq s'isfel.
Aħna ma dak il-każ jżomm moqqul u jkun abjad, ma nagħmilx li jkun iswed. Però iva din ma naqbilx magħha wkoll għax aħna minna progress, il-mara għandha d-drittijiet tagħha llum kif taqbad il-mara improvjat ma nix ngħixu f'kultura primittiva, nerġa' ripeti, inti ġejt f'pajjiżi u dan jiena li affisa li nara mara mottija. Kieku kelli nkun barra ma mmorrux l-estrem li joħor issa li skużi joħorġu bl-aħwejjeġ biex nkun miftiem għax jien anke dawn li kollhom qalziet iktar imqatta milli mhux imqatta ma toġobniex għalhekk għamiltilek ċara. There is no hate, jiena mhux qed ngħidlek li nobgħod il-kulturi aw il-beliefs differenti, però l-estremi jdejquni. kemm hekk jagħmluhom il-Maltin u kemm hekk jagħmluhom il-barranin. Tifhem, dawna mara tkun mod janfus, jiena li huwa il-mara neħħejtilha id-dik tagħha ġeru, kull mara tieħu pjaċir turi li jasabha.
Ma jekk inti l-mara Musulmana m'għandha l-ebda diffikultà, ma tħossha komda li tilbes dak it-tip tal-bies, għaliex għandi niġi jien u ngħidilha tilbes mod ieħor.
Skużani, dak qed tgħid inti. Kien hemm min jagħmel confessions u ġili ntaqa' ma' nies minħabba n-natura ta' xogħol li kont kelli sa ftit ilu kienu jkellmuni u jibda jħarsu lura hekk ħajaraw ġi xi ħadd minn wara jew żewġhom jkun ġieli qed jistenna barra. Dawna l-ewwel ħaġa jġiluhom jagħmlu jqilbu l-reliġjon. Jiena għalhekk taqleb ir-reġjon ma dik hija ġa qisu kuntratt. U mbagħad jiġu qisu suppressed kif jgħidulhom ir-raġel jiġu jagħmlu huma. Tifhem,
U din is-soppressjoni inti qed tħossha wkoll mhux biss fuq livell individwali tan-nisa, ma qed tħossha wkoll fuq livell ta' nazzjon. Jiġifieri inti ġieli esprimejt biża' illi il-poplu Malti jista' jisfa mittiekel jew f'minoranza għaliex ġnus barranin, inkluż il-Musulmani, iġibu ħafna iktar tfal minna. Aħna għandna l-inqas fertility rate bħala nisa Malti. Inti tara dan it-tip ta' assedju minn ġewwa allura qed niġu assedjati minn ġewwa?
Bil-mod il-mod huwa soft invasion jew influx, għax il-kelma invasion tinstema' wkoll ħażin, għandhom tittoqgħod attent kif tpoġġi d-diskors. Għal-folja xorta issa nistmajt, imma hija jew soft invasion jew kellha influx. Dawna jiġu ħafna drabi l-iskuża ħarbu mill-gwerra, mhux qed ngħid kulħadd, imma dak tara dajsa ppakkjata b'xi 60 ruħ u kull ma tara mara waħda jew tnejn tiġi tgħid li n-nisa mhux kapaċi jagħmlu l-vjaġġ, x'jiena kan naħrab mill-gwerra ħanġib miegħi l-kelb ukoll jew li nista'
Charles, imma il-Musulmani kollha f'Malta ma jiġux bħala immigranti jiġi għax-xogħol.
Dik kienet żejda minha. Ma inti qed Malta ma normalment jiġu għax-xogħol, ma jiġux bħala familja, u mbagħad jintaqgħu, jagħmlu ħbieb u jibdew. Tarhom ishom taraġġ, tarhom mixin, aħna n-naħa tara fejn noqgħod jiena forsi mhix bħal fejn toqgħod in-naħa tiegħek, tarhom taraġġ it-tfal hekk tilgħin. Tinduna laqas qed jagħtiha nnifs, laqas hemm bejn tista' tgħid laqas ikun hemm sena bejn pregnancy u oħra. Tifhem, allura da qed jiżdiedu biex kif qed inti wkoll ir-rata tal-fertilità ta' Malta naqset ħafna u jista' jagħti każ ukoll li għandu x'jaqsam mal-programm ta' infurzar tal-vaċċinazzjoni. Mhux bil-fors dwar il-COVID, imma aħna nibdew ta' żgħira għax is-saħħa pubblika tgħidlek ċertu liġijiet insa l-COVID. Hemm ħafna mart ieħor li tieħu l-vaksin. Dan għandek common English.
Din mhux deċiżjoni tan-nisa u tal-familji Maltin, jiġifieri żewġ ġenerazzjonijiet ilu dak it-taraġġ ta' tfal kont taraħ fost il-familji Maltin. Aħna ddeċidejna il-ħajja li ngħixu li ma nġibux daqshekk tfal.
Ma jimx dik li qed ngħid inti semmejt il-fertilità. Jien qed ngħidlek li tista' tkun attribwita wkoll għal fatt li f'pajjiżhom mhux infurzat, speċjalment meta ġieli jiġu minn pajjiżi tat-tielet dinja, mhux infurzat il-programm tal-vaċċinazzjoni u inti għandek ingredient kważi komuni fuq il-vaċċin, inkluż ukoll il-vaċċin stessa tal-COVID. Jgħidulu squalene u normalment jidher bħala code MF59. Ma MF59 huwa squalene oil, ġej mill-kelma squalex qed joqtlu wkoll ħafna klip il-baħar u hawnhekk l-istess l-environmentalisti u dan bioloġisti mhux jitkellmu kemm qed joqtlu ħafna klip il-baħar biex jagħmlu da sustanza tal-mediċina li dina il-punt huwa dan. Huwa xertifikat magħruf li squalene ma' żmien tikkaġuna infertilità. U għalhekk huma ħafna drabi m'għandhomx problema biex jiġibu biex jikattru it-tfal. Tifhem? Aħna
inti qed tikkontendi li huma nies ta' pajjiżi oħrajn, kulturi oħrajn, mhumiex ivvaċċinati b'dawn it-tip ta'
ma mhix bil-fors qed ngħid li din tikkawża l din, Però huwa stat ta' fatt li f'pajjiżhom mhuwiex inforzat biex joqgħod jieħdu l-vaċċin. Huwa stat ta' fatt li l-fertility rate tagħhom hija għolja ħafna u huwa stat ta' fatt ukoll li f'Malta għandna kulturi oħra li qed inħajru kull tip ta' żwieġ kif dak iż-żwieġ li ikkattar it-tfal li n-natura intended to make, tifhem, issa toġbok ma toġbokx, biologically, hekk għamlet natura biex tkompli razza umana. Ma noqgħod nidħol f'argument tiegħi ħarqu, imma dak tip ta' behaviors fil-liġi Musulmana mhumiex tollerati. U in a way għandhom biċċa raġuni li mhux qed inkun negattiv li tagħhom. Huma biex qed tgħidlek li jmorru l-estrem, naġa repeti, kull estrem huwa ħażin li jiġu marginalized jew imħaġġra għax għandhom twemmin ta' behavior ta' sexual orientation.
Ma
kollox, Mario.
L-aħħar domanda fi kliemek jew fi ħsiebek u mill-esperjenza tiegħek. Il-multikulturalizmu jaħdem jew inkella huwa sħab flajru?
Jaħdem ma jaħdimx. Kollox bilanċ, Mario. Bħall-ikel, tikol ħafna joqtlu. Huwa tajjeb li tħaddina dejjem kont imur skola privata u għalija l-barranin qatt ma kienu problema. Tallimt l-Ingliż tajjeb għax bil-forsi isek titkellem l-Ingliż tagħmel ħbib magħhom, imma il-kosmopolitanizmu dik il-kelma isa il-new catch term, jekk imbagħad joħolqok ma jħallik spazju fejn inti tista' naftak il-post ta' x'ħadu huma, jew inkella inti tara ħwiena tiftħu tal-ħalal u jweġġawk hekk inti animal lover u offiża anke ma jsirx ġa pajjiżek, jiena kirid nimporta kot ta' tigra ma jħallunix, għal-volja ma qtiltix jiena t-tigra x'qed tikkoraġġixxi l-qtil tat-tigra, ġifieri mhux inbilli jgħidu ma jsirux ġa Malta, darba rajt każ li f'sena xi 3 snin ħajta rapport, f'sena kull ma qatlu 12 żiemel biex nikluh, meta tmur f'ħafna restaurants illum għax issa f'daqqa waħda m'għaddix tal-low class li tmur ġa restaurant Malti, illum sirna kulħadd reġajna qed tagħtuhom spinta, taralek horse meat. Ġifieri dan anke annimal kbir daqs is-siemel ukoll qed jinqatel klandestinament. Imma hija ngħidu din il-baqra mhux tinqatel fil-ħalal ġa pajjiżi. Il-fatt allura jieħed multikulturalizmu ma tqedrekx taħseb raġa' tbiżlek fuq il-ħalal. X'kien nimxi f'ċertu l-ħura speċjalment fis-sawt ta' Malta u n-naħa tal-Harbour area. Tara ħalal butchers jiftħu mhux ħażin, jiena li għalija inħobbu, għalija joffiża.
Tibda tinkwieta. Nirringrazzjak.
Mela hemmhekk fejn il-multikulturizmu jibda jdejqek, mhux għax nobodhom, imma jweġġani.
Nirringrazzjak Charles tal-kontribut tiegħek. Grazzi.
Sewa, hemmhekk smajna l-intervent tal-opinjonista Charles Micallef. He was speaking about that multiculturalism has its problems, for example, because he feels offended seeing so many meat shops opening in Malta where they are advertised that they sell halal meat. And he is associating halal with violence on cruelty on animals. Among other things, he spoke about women's rights and the LGBTIQ community, which is not tolerated. And he said that this is a best practice compared to European way of living, which is normalized now. So here is a clash of civilizations. And he also spoke about this fertility rate, which is much more predominant and numerous among Muslims than among Europeans. Ħanibda l-ewwel bl-imam.
L-ewwel qed jien semmejt dak li qal ħabib tagħna opinjonist. L-ewwel qed meta nitkellmu dwar halal. L-Iżlam jgħid li meta l-animali jiġu imqattla għandhom jiġu imqattla b'mod tajjeb u b'mod maġġel. Jiġifieri meta il-ħadis profeta Muhammad paċi tkun miegħu qal li meta tinqatel l-animal in-najf is-sikkina għandha tkun sharp vis. Allura mill-level taqta il-gerzuma tal-animal sabiex ma tħoss iktar il-luġieħ. Dan meta nustudja u naraw fid-detal, l-animal iħoss luġieħ għal xi skondi biss. Sabiex il-moment jinqata il-girzuma il-rabta bajn il-moħħ u il-ġisem jinqata mill-level u għalhekk l-animal ma iħoss il-luġieħ. U għalu koll li meta tinqattel l-animal, dan m'għandux ikun quddiem l-animali oħra sabiex ma jarawx, ma jħossux li hemm xi l-animal minnhom qed jinġi.
Issa dana kollu jiġri biex ma jitħallix dem ġallaħam.
Ġallaħam għax huwa għax lan huwa li levelet id-dem tal-animal huwa mhuwiex tajjeb għas-saħħa tal-bniedem. Illum tobba jgħidu hemm ħafna pajjiżi l-kbar fejn hemm jqattlu l-animali b'mod.
Però mbagħad mill-att mediku fuq in-nies intkom m'għandkomx riservi fuq bla transfusion bejn in-nies. Wieħed jista' jagħti dem lil ieħor.
Le, dak żgur li għax l-Iżlam jgħid hemm ukoll għax l-Iżbeta.
Le jew iva, ġifieri permessibbli.
Permessibbli, jien ngħid l-Iżlam huwa reliġjon naturali. Il-bniedem ħafna drabi jaħseb jara biċċa u mbagħad jaħseb li it-tagħlim Iżlamiku kollu huwa kif jaqra u jissema u jara fit-television. L-Iżlam huwa reliġjon naturali u jgħid li meta il-bniedem għandu bżonn anke pereżempju il-laħm tal-majjal mhuwiex permessibbli fil-Iżlam, imma jgħid li jekk il-bniedem qed imut bil-ġuħ u ma jsib xi ħaġa oħra mingħajr majjal, allura jista' jiekol sakemm jibqa' ħaj, ma jintilef ħajtu.
Mela,
natura tal-bniedem.
Ħalli nitillaw mill-annimal għal-bniedem kif qed inti ma' mżijan. Charles McAuliffe opinionated that the way women dress is like the Middle Ages, and also it is damaging for their health because they are not exposed to sunlight and therefore to vitamin D. What can you answer for this?
I am answering from Quranic perspective. For example, Quran says that women should cover part of bodies, but which parts they should cover? For example, hands. They seem naturally, right? Your face, your hands, or some parts of our bodies are shown naturally. It's open in all cultures. So a woman shouldn't cover. I am explaining from Quranic perspective, by the way, from ayats of Quran. And there are some specific, for example, some genital, some organs. Maybe Imam, you will explain better than me.
L-Islam jgħid li per eżempju anke kif diġa spiegajt li il-dress code għandu diċenti. Għal-nissa jgħid li għandhom biex jgħataw is-sebuħija u l-ġisem tagħhom sabiex ħadd ma jaf u ma jikkawża xi ħasara lilhom. Imma il-ħijab għandu wkoll b'moderazzjoni saħiħa. Iżlam ma jgħidx li il-mara għandha tkun imqatta mir-ras sal-isfel, imma jgħid li il-libsa anke il-ħijab għandu jkun moderat ħafna.
Ġifieri l-ISIS li jlibsu
hija absolutely kontra it-tagħlim Iżlamiku. Il-mexxej tal-komunità Ahmadija, il-fundatur tal-komunità Ahmadija qal li il-ħijab mhuwiex il-ħabs għal-nisa, dan huwa xi ħaġa biex juri id-dinjetà il-mara tajd li hija limitu tiegħi li ħadd ma jista' jindaħal fil-limiti tiegħi.
Rauf, you work as accountant, and you are engaged in youth work. From your experience, how do young women in their 18, 20, 25 years of age, how are they accustomed and therefore they accept it, or behind closed doors they are not happy with that kind of tradition to cover themselves?
It's a very good question. If I can add something, that this veil thing, that this hijab is not only applicable to women or girls. It's the first commandment in Quran is to men actually. If a woman comes in, the men are required to lower their gaze. So it's not just the women that they're restricted, but the primary obligation is to men that if somebody comes, they have to treat them respectfully and not just keep on staring at them. So, but with regards to your question, I have to say that, it depends. We cannot generalize everybody, but I know because it's the way they've been brought up. So all these women, I would say, they feel comfortable as well because that's how they've been brought up since childhood.
But isn't this a symptom of a masculine society, that is, a woman is there only to please her man, and therefore she needs to be covered when in society, and she can be herself only at home when her man is there? So is this a masculine society that
Very good.
that have even ethical issues?
I completely understand your point. So, between mother and father, mother is a woman, but she is 3 times higher in position than a father. Somebody asked Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, that who is deserving of my obedience the most? Prophet Muhammad said, your mother, who's a woman. Then again, he said, Prophet Muhammad. Even then the 3rd time, he said, your mother. So it's the 4th time when the father's turn came up, that who was deserving of the obedience of children. So I would say that it's not just between men and women. It depends on their responsibilities and duties. Women in Islamic society, I would say, they're completely free to contribute in the economy. The first wife of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was a trader. He was very well established businesswoman. She was very well established businesswoman. So women in Islam, I would say, they are completely free to participate in the economy. Even if I can just say from my personal experience, my mother, she used to run a beauty salon all her life. My aunt is a travel agent. So I would say, as long as they're dressing modestly, they can contribute in the society economy for sure.
And also education is open to them.
Definitely.
All opportunities.
Of course. A lot of my cousins, they are PhD in chemistry, physics. They can do anything they want. In fact, the hadith that I just got quoted, it is obligatory on men and women both to pursue education. It is a commandment of Quran and hadith for them to educate, to get educated. So there is no difference in that, I would say.
Imam, il-Koran jippermetti li raġel ikollu iktar minn mara waħda?
Iva fil-Quran Alla jgħid li minħabba xi ċertu kundizzjonijiet ir-raġel jista' iżżewweġ iktar minn mara waħda.
Jistess ħin.
Iva, imma dak huwa jista'. Imma jgħid li meta xi ħadd iżewweġ iktar minn mara waħda, allura hemm għandu jkun ġustizzja u l-imħabba sħiħa bejnietom. Ir-raġel ma jistax pereżempju jagħti euro lil wieħed u 3 lil oħra. Le, dak jekk jagħmel Alla jgħid fil-Quran li jekk ma jagħmilx ġustizzja allura ma jistax iżewweġ iktar.
Kemm hija prattikata din? Jew
hija pratikata vera ftit. Għaliex
U f'ċertu pajjiżi iktar minn oħrajn?
mhux pajjiżi għax ċertu xi drabi il-bniedem għandu xi bżonnijiet. Pereżempju jekk il-raġel m'għandux tfal u jrid biex minħabba l-mara jekk ma jistax ikollu t-tfal, jista' jżewweġ mara oħra sabiex ikollhom it-tfal. Ħafna drabi jien ukoll naf li hemm nisa li jekk ma tistax tipproduċi il-tfal, titkellem mar-raġel tagħha sabiex iżewweġ mara oħra sabiex il-familja jkollha tfal. Imma llum il-ġurnata jekk naraw hija minorità żgħira biss li n-nies jiżewġu għax il-żwieġ mhuwiex xi ħaġa pjaċir tal-ġisem biss, imma hemm responsabiltajiet kbar. Skont it-tagħlim Iżlamiku, id-dar, il-libsa u l-ikel. Jiġifieri affarijiet jew bżonnijiet bażiċi huma id-dwer tar-raġel biex jipprovdi lill-familja tiegħu. Illum il-ġurnata ħajja saret expensive ħafna, allura ir-raġel ma jista' jiffordja biex jiżewweġ, anke jekk pereżempju nara vera ftit nies nara li hemm iżewġu iktar minn mara anke fil-kultura Iżlamika, pereżempju jien vera kien hemm nies nista' nodfu il-subajja li żewġu u meta jżewġu iktar minn mara kien hemm raġuni. Għax Alla jgħid li huwa importanti.
Imma jkun hemm konsens li l-mara tkun tittiżewweġ lir-raġel li diġà huwa miżewġ xi ħadd ieħor jew ikollha taċċetta bil-fors.
Le, il-mara jekk għandhom qabil meta jżewġu li r-raġel ma jistax iżewweġ mara oħra, jekk għandhom qabil fil-ħin ta' żwieġ, allura r-raġel m'għandux għax huwa qabil bejnietom. Imma jekk il-mara tgħid li jekk irid biex jiżewweġ għandu permess mill-mara u jaqblu dan il-punt qabel iż-żwieġ, imma dak ukoll il-raġel għandu to honor that decision, imma bħala prinċipju ir-raġel m'għandux bżonn biex jistaqsi jew jieħu permess mill-mara li jżewweġ mara oħra.
Zian, when Charles Micallef was on the phone, he used the expression, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. You are familiar with it. So when you are in a foreign country, you do like the foreigners living there. And he used it twice. Now, why do you think that it is not possible for Islamic people to integrate into the society they are living in? So, for example, their women can be allowed not to wear the hijab in a European country. Why do you think that there is this resistance in order to keep your identity and to keep your traditions in a land that has welcomed you?
Good question. Yes, integrating is very important to the societies, but why people have to live his own religion, his own belief to integrate? We can live together. We can live together without living the things that makes us what we are.
But he said that he gets offended that seeing halal meat chops. Because for him, halal means cruelty. Now, Imam explained it differently. So, having this multicultural community, society, is difficult because traditions are very different from.
This is why we are calling these communities multi, because there are lots of people. For example, there are some kosher shops for Jewish people. There are some vegetarian vegetarian restaurants for vegetarian people, etc., etc. Of course, we have to respect to the society where we live in, for sure. And Islam asks us to do that. But it is also human. It is also in the scope of human rights, what we believe, what we are. So I think we keep them, not just us, Christian people, Jewish people, and other societies also. We have to
But-
protect their rights, like our rights.
So we live together in tolerance. We tolerate your and accept your traditions, and you tolerate and accept the traditions of the country that is welcoming you for work
For-
or as a tourist, etc. But the problem is, as Charles McAuliffe said, that the fertility rate of Muslims is much higher, brings much more children in the world than that of the West, than that of the Europeans. And many people think that we will be having an invasion from inside. It's like a Trojan horse. Do you think that this fear from an internal invasion is real or mythical? Let's start with Rauf.
Continuing what Brother Zian said, I would say that there is one thing. There is one thing that is isolation. When I am living in a foreign country, I cannot be isolated from the society, their culture, their values. And then there is one thing in annihilation, assimilation. I cannot just leave my own traditions and just annihilate myself in their values. So I think in every aspect of life, Islam requires you to be moderate, to be in the middle, and that is where integration comes. Like
U anke il-libertà, nitkellmu ħafna fuq il-libertà fil-punent. Imma jekk il-bniedem għandu biex jneħħi kollox u does as Romans do, jiġifieri fejn hu l-libertà tiegħu. Jiġifieri nitkellmu fuq il-libertà tal-espressjoni, il-libertà reliġjuża, il-libertà tal-bniedem, dinja tal-bniedem. Jekk il-bniedem m'għandux għażla biex jipprattika u jitkellem u jaħseb il-mod li jemmen allura fejn hu libertà tal-bniedem? Jiġifieri dan il-kontrast najdu li hemm għandu jkun libertà, imma n-naħa l-oħra najdu do as Romans do. Xi jfisser? Fejn hu libertà tal-bniedem? Jiġifieri hemm għandna biex inkunu moderati.
Fuq di tal-fertilità wkoll. Ftit tal-ġimgħat ilu il-Papa Franġisku għamel diskors u qal illi jekk inti tkun Kattoliku mhux sewwa li l-miżewġin jaqblu bejniethom u jrabbu kelb flok iġibu tifel jew tifla. Anzi mar passoltrew għala ħafna kritika. Laqas nusuwa li jġibu tifel jew tifla waħda. Iġifieri din qed tinħassu wkoll mill-Kattoliċiżmu x'da sa ftit ilu Maltese Maltese families used to be very numerous. Then because of consumerism and because of the materialistic world we are living in, families tend to become much more nuclear. Maybe you, from an economic point of view, Ziad.
Please. Actually, such kind of fears sounds very normal and part of our human, part of being a human. For example, in history, in current world, people and societies have some fears. For example, people are worrying about growing rate of China from economic perspective. So always some societies have some concerns about something else. And
Chinese have strict restrictions on fertility rate.
But even though they are 2 billion people in the world, and as you know, it is a huge part of the total population.
So Maltese families grow smaller because of even the economic dimension. So financial dimension, etc. So are these limitations felt as well by Muslim families? How can they afford to bring up a family of 6 or 8 children?
Actually, to be honest, I have 2 kids. And most of the...
And I have 2 as well. So
yes, it is. It sounds rational to me to have.
So is this a misconception that all Muslim families have numerous children?
Le, dak mhuwiex misconception, hemm nies, hemm familji li għandhom ħafna tfal. Imma dan ħafna drabi xi jiġri. Jekk il-bniedem mhuwiex edukat biżejjed, allura il-għażliet tagħhom mhuwiex tajbin. Jekk il-bniedem jaf li għaliex it-tfal għandhom, it-tfal mhuwiex biex jittwildu imbagħad iħalluhom
Mhux hekk tinvesti fihom.
investi fihom. Allura meta l-bniedem jaħseb li għandek tinvesti fit-tfal, ma jistax ikollu iktar u anke fit-talim skont it-talim Iżlamiku hemm ikun għandu kważi 3 snin xinajdu gap between tifel u liħor. Jekk il-bniedem jieħu il-familji iżommu dan il-differenza, dan il-gap, ma jistax ikollhom ħafna tfal.
U fuq dik in-nota aħna nieħdu pawsa, ibqgħu hemm għaliex wara 2 minuti oħra nerġgħu nkunu magħkom. Dejjem fuq il-programm Agora Campus FM.
Lejn Mużika, il-Festival tal-Kanzunetta Maltija. Insiru nafu x'qed jiġri minn wara l-kwinti u aktar. Kull nhar ta' tnejn fil-5 ta' filgħaxija, b'ripetizzjoni l-ħadd fl-10 ta' filgħodu fuq 103.7 Campus FM.
Ir-riċerka fl-Università huwa programm fuq Campus FM li feħjina kollu intervista akademiċi, letturi, investigaturi, studenti u professuri hawnhekk fl-Università li qed jagħmlu riċerka importanti, riċerka fil-qasam tax-xjenza kif ukoll fil-qasam artistiku. Riċerka li tiġi pubblikata f'ġurnali anka internazzjonali u li twassal għal ħafna aktar għarfien f'dawn l-oqsma li semmejt. Inaqdu miegħi fuq Campus FM għal ir-riċerka fl-Università nhar ta' tnejn fl-4 ta' wara nofsinhar b'repetizzjoni nhar ta' ġimgħa fl-4 ta' wara nofsinhar.
Nilqakom lura hawnhekk fl-istudios ta' Campus FM mill-Università ta' Malta, jiena Mario Thomas Vassallo, il-programm huwa Agora, illum qegħdin niddiskutu l-Islam, is-soċjetà u l-politika. Miegħi fl-istudio għandi l-Imam Ahmed Atif, imam tal-Ahmadija Muslim Ġamat Malta, għandi l-accountant Rauf Babar u għandi wkoll il-ġurnalista Zian Albaniz. Pero issa se nkunu qegħdin nagħmlu kollegament ma' l-Ingilterra. Fil-fatt għandna koppja musulmana illi kienet tgħix Malta u illum telqet u qiegħda tgħix l-Ingilterra. Din il-koppja hawnhekk għandi lil Harun Ahmad Khan u Nur Ul-Hada Khan. Welcome and thank you for being with us this morning.
Morning, guys. How are you doing?
So here, Malta, England link. So my first question is this: you have lived in Malta, you have experienced living as Muslims in a Catholic country. Now
Correct. Yes,
you are in England. Do you see differences in the way you are treated and in the integration of Muslims into the Maltese society and the British society? Are there differences for the good or for the bad?
Definitely, there's positives and improvements that we've done in both countries. Obviously, the majority of the time I've lived has been in the UK, so I've grown up here as an Ahmadi Muslim. And we have a system of a youth group called the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association, which is a charity, youth charity, which part of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community all over the world. We have one in Malta and we have one in the UK as well. So being involved in this youth charity from a young age helps integrate the youth into the British and Maltese society as they grow up. It enables them to understand the importance of serving one's country, and that loyalty to one's country is part of one's faith, and the importance of being good citizens and gaining a good education and excelling in all fields.
But comparing Malta, Raul, comparing Malta to United Kingdom, what is the level of integration in Malta? Do we need to register more progress in this regard, or do we have some best practices when compared to England? Because Malta is a small society in itself, whilst England is a society where there is more anonymity, people don't know each other. So how is life between Malta and England? Perhaps Noor would like to join in the discussion.
I think it's a given if you think about it that, Malta is a very small country right now. The population is very small. And if you look at the UK, we've got a population exceeding 60 million. And there is a lot of diversity in the UK. You will find that people are here from all over the world. And there are little societies, little communities belonging to each of these races. So, of course, I would definitely say that there is a lot more diversity here in the UK. But when I was in Malta, I didn't feel that, that anybody, like if I was to walk around in my hijab, I didn't feel that anybody looked at me with like a very judging gaze, or looked at me as if like, oh, why is she wearing the hijab, or who is she, or what is that on her head? I do think that in the Maltese society there is an understanding of the different faiths, and I'm sure it's down to education. But yes, I do think that there is slightly more integration here in the UK, just merely for the fact that there is just a lot of diversity every day. Every corner you turn, you will find that you will meet new people. You will find a new place of work.
And also because of the Commonwealth effect, because the British Empire was almost 1/3 of the world. Up to a century ago, and therefore there is a lot of people traveling to their to England from the colonies, ex-colonies.
Of course, if you see, there's been such a massive influx of migrants coming into the UK, especially in the 1940s, post World War II. And if you see that, prior to that, perhaps you wouldn't have, if you asked us this question maybe in 1930s or 1940s, or even in the 50s, we probably would have been like, no, there's no diversity, there's no integration. And, the more people have come from all over the world to the UK, you will find that, the diversity has grown. And now being in 2022, of course, you would find that there's people of all races, or people of all faiths here. So definitely the integration has grown.
So in Malta, we have to speed up integration policies.
Oh, I wouldn't, like I said, I don't think there's like a lack of integration at the moment. I just think that there's just I'm sure you would agree that because there's a lot less people, and I think like I was saying before, that it's not as if people people look at you with judgmental. I'm very sure that people are still very understanding, but yes, I just think that currently, due to the number of people that there are, the platforms, I think over time will definitely increase.
Now a question for you too. Muslims believe that men and women are equal but different. Does this mean that a woman cannot distinguish herself in professional career because her natural call is first and foremost to be a mother?
I think being a mother in Islam is very, very important. The role of a mother is something that can never ever be underestimated, undermined. Yes, it is. We do believe that it is a woman's natural calling to be a mother. You know, male and women, they're created to reproduce, to have children, and we find that the primary responsibility of raising children is entrusted upon a mother because of her nature. So when we say that men and women are different, if we look at the nature of man and women, women's nature is far more nurturing, far more caring. But that doesn't go on to say that, fathers don't have a role in Islam as well, because fathers are entrusted with their own responsibilities. So, we always say that children are great imitators. So we always think, oh, how did a child pick that up? And it's merely because children, pick up what they see. So fathers also have that, men also have that responsibility to ensure that they're good fathers. But for women,
in fact, Noor, you are a lawyer, whilst your husband is an accountant.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Harun, how do you feel? How do you feel that your wife has a professional career of her own?
I feel very happy. I feel very, very happy and proud of it. So it's actually a very, very a plus point in favor, because in her favor, because the fact is, as women are going to be raising the children of the future, the kids of tomorrow, it's important that obviously they instill good values in them, and they're educated as well, to instill in them a good education as they grow up and go on to become successful in their careers. Whether your children are, whether you have sons or daughters, it's equally important. The only responsibility of a woman isn't staying at home and working hard in the kitchen and bearing children. If a lady does want to work, that is her full right. And Noor does work as a full-time lawyer. She is expecting a child at the moment. So, but again, that's a separate responsibility in the sense that she wants to work alongside.
We wish you well, Noor, because you are pregnant. One last question. One last hypothetical question. What will happen if one of your daughters, when she is 18, 19 years of age, and she began to have relationship with a Protestant or a Catholic man? Would you accept that, or you will have very serious reservations?
It's a very
hypothetical question. So intermarriages, even not only between races, but between different religious beliefs. Perhaps the Imam would...
Jekk nispjega dan, l-Islam jgħid li l-irġiel Musulmani jistaw jżewġu l-irġiel Musulmani jistaw jżewġu man-nisa tal-kitib, jiġifieri dak ludi u nisrani. Imma il-nisa Musulmani għandhom biex jżewġu mal-Musulmani biex. Għaliex? Għax il-ħafna drabi jekk ir-raġel u mara m'għandhomx.
Sekonda, mela ħan nispjega ftit. Ir-raġel Musulman jista' jiżżewweġ mara nisranija jew ludija. Però mara Musulmana tittiżżewweġ biss raġel Musulman.
Iva. Għax ħafna drabi xi jiġri. Jekk ir-raġel u mara m'għandhomx background l-istess, pereżempju jekk il-mara hija sinjura ħafna u r-raġel huwa fqir, jew wieħed huwa edukat u l-ieħor le, jiġifieri il-compatibility bejnietom ma jagħmilx sew, għalhekk ħafna drabi iż-żwieġ ma jirnexxi il quddiem. Allura l-Iżlam jgħid li meta xi ħadd għandu biex iżewweġ, l-ewwel u qabel kollox jara li jażel partner tiegħu jew tagħha li huwa ħafna qarib b'mod reliġjon, b'mod spiritwali, b'mod ekonomiku u anke b'mod edukazzjoni. Dan huwa importanti li l-Iżlam juża kelma ħam kufur. Jiġifieri għandhom ma' par ma' xulxin sabiex il-ħajja tagħhom ikkun xenadu source mezz tal-paċi ena u barka mhuwiex
Mela, skont l-ispjega tal-imam, according to the explanation of Imam Harun and Noor, excuse me for my question because it was off limits, because your daughter, when she is 18 years of age, she cannot marry a man of a different creed. She has to marry a Muslim man. Is that right?
In Islam, you're allowed to marry people of the book. So if you do want to marry a Christian or Jew, Islamically, as far as I understand, there is no stipulation on that because you're allowed to marry people of the book. I know people who've done that in the past. However, obviously, our preference, I'll be honest with you, our preference would be someone from our community, similarly because of the fact that we believe that the work that our community does and what Islam teaches the best values. So we would want someone, for example, our son or daughter, to have someone with the best values as an Ahmadi Muslim, as a member of our community. Obviously, that would naturally be our preference. However, Islamically speaking, not applying to this example, Muslims are allowed to marry people of the book.
Harun and Noor, thank you for being with us this morning on the University Radio. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and wish you well.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.
U jien għaddi nispjega xi ħaġa żgħira wkoll li l-Iżlam jgħid li meta l-bniedem isur matur 18-il sena, imbagħad l-għażla huwa tagħhom. Imma l-Iżlam jagħti gwida li huma għandhom biex iżewġu b'dawn il-prinċipi. Imma jekk xi ħadd irid biex iżewweġ barra minn dawk ir-regoli dan huwa l-għażla tal-bniedem. Allura ma nistgħux niġġudikaw dik il-persuna għaliex le, dan huwa bejn il-bniedem u l-ħalli li dak l-għażla tal-bniedem u d-deċiżjoni tal-bniedem huwa bejnu u bejn il-ħalli.
Rauf, so it is true that Islamists want to keep their parameters and integrating or intermarrying with other communities is accepted, is tolerated, but surely not promoted. Is this the real gist of what we were talking about?
I would personally agree with that. As I mentioned, like I'm of the understanding that integration is very much promoted between among Muslims. Like if I can deviate from this marriage issue, and if I can say like Christmas, when Christmas was here, I with my work colleagues we exchanged gifts. Although in Pakistan, in Muslims, Christmas is not an event, but we do exchange gifts or chocolates or something, or cakes as well. And when
anke fil-bażi fisem il-komunità Ahmadija morna ħafna djar u iltqajna magħhom qassemnihom xi rigali
u entu mortu tgħinu lid-dar tal-Providenza.
Dar tal-Providenza u anke il-talibrar ibwar tal-Caritas. Nannit Malta.
Issa, inti titkellem fisem l-Ahmadija. Issa inti Zijan, inti naħa tas-Sunni sewwa.
Speaking.
Sorry, do you profess the Sunni Islam?
I am not considered. Actually, I am Muslim, just Muslim. I cannot categorize myself as Muslim, as Sunni, as Shia, or whatever else, because Allah called us as Muslims.
So not even Ahmadiyya. You're not part of Ahmadiyya.
Yes, I am not. I am friends of them.
And there are many Muslims like you who are not Sunni or Shiite or Ahmadiyya or whatever, but they are.
I know more. I have more friends who is thinking like me. And Imam, please correct me if I am wrong, because I am always reading translation of Quran in my mother tongue. Quran says that Turkish, yes. In the Quran, Allah calls that who can be lucky than who is called by Muslims.
Yes.
So Allah Allah, creator of us, selected this name for us. Not
So
she,
your
not she.
guidelines, you derive your guidelines direct from the Quran and not from the tradition of any faction of Islam.
Yes, it's for me. It's
So-
ideas, my own
U
thoughts.
hawnhekk jekk nispjega li Alla jgħid fil-Quran imqaddes li huwa sammakum muslimin, jiġifieri huwa tagħkom isem tal-Musulman tal-Iżlam. Aħna kollha Musulmani, l-Aħmadija tajna isem lil komunità tagħna biss mir-raġuni sabiex tinqarif li min il-komunità, per eżempju jekk m'hemmx il-Musulmani m'għandhomx l-isem, per eżempju jekk l-irġiel, per eżempju aħna hemm erba' f'din il-kamra.
Kulħadd għandu l-isem tiegħu.
Iva, għalek biex nafu xulxin, għallan dan biss il-Ahmadija, il-fundatur semma l-komunità Ahmadija. U memx raġuni oħra sabiex nafu dwar min qed nitkellmu u min qed jiġi fid-diskuss.
Mela ħandaħlu l-xi ħadd ieħor, imma darba m'għadux magħna mejjed dan, però għad għandu il-legat tiegħu li għadu magħna. Qed nitkellem għal kantant John Lennon. John Lennon tagħna ħafna diski sbieħ. Fosthom id-diska Imagine. Ħan nisimgħu silta minna, mbagħad insaqsikom fuq.
Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You
Emmu, John Lennon.
I like him.
Everyone knows this song, Rauf. But there is a one-liner which strikes us at the core. Imagine there is no religion too. Can we, for a few minutes, imagine what the world would be like if there are no religions, including no Islam? Rauf, Zian, and the Imam. Rauf, you can start.
I would say that in Islamic society, everyone is free to believe, profess, acknowledge, preach whatever they want to do. So it's a free world. Islamic society promotes that. Whatever one wants to believe or whatever his arguments are, they can completely preach that. And there has to be this culture of discussion and arguments within the limits of obviously respect. But for me, when we say there's no religion, for me it would be a bit of chaotic. I would say that there'll be because religion for me it gives you some boundaries, and that is, I think, for me is very important. But again, it's a free world. Everybody is free to do whatever they want to. You can preach and you can practice whatever you feel like.
Zihan, do you think that a world without religion will suffer from lack of moral compass? What is right and what is wrong?
What is the baseline of moral if we don't have a religion? This is my question, contra question for that question, your question. And I would like to use an analogy to answer this question. For example, a few days ago, I am very sad, a girl was murdered in Malta. And right now, murderer is in court. Imagine a law system without prison, without penalties, without results of an expected law system. It doesn't work without such kind of mechanisms. So, yes, we have laws in society, but there are some places there is no CCTVs, there is nothing that prevents people to do harmful things. What will prevent?
So are you saying
people?
that religion acts like a CCTV
From our
and
insight, yes.
It will tell you what is wrong and what is bad.
This is an analogy.
Yes.
To simplify it, to make it more simplified. Religion is a mechanism inside us that commands us what we should do or what we shouldn't do. Otherwise, without any measure, how we can assess our behaviors, how we can decide which is good or which is not good. If everyone has his own opinions regarding the results, how we can make conclusions?
So,
this is my answer. Sorry, it is long.
John Lennon kien qed ikanta there is no religion, imagine there is no religion, għaliex fisem ir-reliġjonijiet matul is-sekli ġew miġġielda ħafna ġlidiet. Jiġifieri mhux biss l-Ajatollah Khomeini biss isemmi l-Alla fil-ġlidiet tiegħu, imma anke l-President tal-Amerika. God is with America. God is with us. L-istess minna fil-kruċjati 1000 sena ilu. U għadna namlu hekk sal-lum. U allura John Lennon kien qisu qiegħed jgħid isma' kieku ma nsemmux il-Alla fit-taħdit tagħna, kieku laqas nistgħu nsemmuh biex niġġieldu f'ismu. Jiġifieri reliġjonijiet kienu flok minn fejn tlaqna. L-Iżlam huwa sliem. Imma l-Iżlam fisser ukoll ġlidiet. L-aħħar kumment minn għandek, Imam Atif.
Grassi, levelet jekk m'hemmx reliġjon jien naħseb se jkun kjos sħi fis-soċjetà. Konfużjoni estrema. Għax reliġjon jagħtina il-gwida, it-tri. Għax il-reliġjon ma jfissirx li hija set ta' xi dogmas, imma reliġjon hija it-tri. Reliġjon hija way of life. Reliġjon jagħtina mudell kif ngħixu fis-soċjetà. Ir-reliġjon tagħtina il-valuri. Ir-reliġjon tagħtina is-saħħa, id-determinazzjoni, l-imħabba. Għax jekk il-tifel li imur l-iskola u jaf li ma jkunx hemm l-eżami u ħadd ma se jgħaddi u ħadd ma jitlef, ma jistudjax. U jekk ma jkunx hemm eżamijiet, allura u jekk ma wara eżamijiet ma jistax mara jkollu edukazzjoni hemm xi ħaġa reward għalih, allura ma jagħmilx xogħlu. Allura jekk aħna, jekk m'hemmx reliġjoni, jekk m'hemmx Alla, jekk m'hemmx reward, jekk m'hemmx kastigi, jekk m'hemmx dawk l-affarijiet, allura ma nistgħux nagħmlu xejn fis-soċjetà li hi tagħmel ġid. Inti semmejt gwerer.
L-aħħar kumment?
Gwerer. Fid-dinja saru żewġ gwerer dinji. Ma saru minħabba reliġjon, imma ġew imqattla miljuni ta' nies. Dan huwa tort ta' reliġjon? Le. Imma reliġjon tgħid li m'għandekx l-Iżlam Alla jgħid li jekk il-bniedem joqtol ħadd ieħor b'inġustizzja, dan ikun bħalli kieku qattel l-umanità sħiħa. U jekk xi ħadd issalva ħajja tal-bniedem, mhux nazzjon bniedem wieħed, dan se jkun bħalli kieku salva ħajja tal-umanità sħiħa.
Imam Laq Ahmed Atif, President tal-Ahmadija Muslim Ġamat Malta, Rauf Babar, accountant, u Zian Albaniz, ġurnalista, nirringrazzjakom li kontu magħna illum u grazzi li qsamtu l-esperjenzi dwar l-Iżlam, il-politika u s-soċjetà. Intkom is-semmija ta' Campus FM ibqgħu hemm għaliex wara dan il-pawża qasira għandi lill-politiku Dr. Marlin Farrugia illi magħha se nagħmel it-taħdita wiċċ imwiċċ fuq is-siġġu tal-Labar.